Okay, next up, we have Rachael Herrscher, the fabulosity behind Today's Mama, and the Evo conference at todaysmama.com and evoconference.com.
And we'll start singing again. And I can't sing. All right, when was the last time you turned off all of your technology? I'm gonna say that it happened to me once today, involuntarily, when my phone died and my laptop because I was using it too much and I had laptop burns on my legs. But we're gonna talk about that a little bit today. So how many of you were here for Evo 10? Give some more love. So Evo 10 was awesome. And that led to 6 weeks of summertime for me. A lot's happened since Evo 10. Friday the 13th in August happened last year. Now, lots of things happened on Friday the 13th. I can't pronounce the word for that level of paranoia. But if you're afraid of Friday the 13th, raise your hand. Most important thing, I think, is that Tupac died on Friday the 13th. That's when he was found. Now, I woke up on Friday the 13th, August 13th, and my Mac died. So I had this beautiful white Mac desktop. It was the white kind, and I was like, who wants to move to the silver kind? They're ugly. I want my white one. And it completely died. That paled in comparison to the phone call I received later that day from a nurse in Jackson Hole named Deborah, who let me know that my husband was in a head-on collision and was being life-flighted back to Salt Lake City, and that he was in critical condition and they couldn't give me any other information. It took me a few hours to post a Facebook update. I didn't know how I wanted to use social media to communicate something that was so close to my heart. That's my status update that was sent at 2:47 in the morning. So on a lighter note, I've talked about this before and not cried. I laid on this exact bed while I waited to get news, and I later found out it was unsanitized. And I told Jill, I saw Jill at the hospital, and I said, dude, I think I've got scabies. And she's like, all this, and you have scabies now? I was like, no, dude, I don't really have scabies. The good news is the boy who lived is sitting right here up front. And he's doing really well. But the aftermath of that is my computer crashed. My husband crashed. I had no technology. I was worn out. I had no resources. Things just didn't seem to add up. But what that amounted to was a pretty amazing experience for me and my family. Unplugging. When was the last time you unplugged? I had no technology. I literally sat offline for about 8 weeks, and I didn't work. I didn't do anything. And let me tell you, it was actually glorious. I experienced a lot of things about myself and freed myself from a few things. So one thing I did was purge. You see all this stuff I checked out the window. I did so many runs to the DI, to the Goodwill. I was just like, I'm getting all this bad juju out of my house. I don't need this. You know, I just wanted to clean things up. Now, in the meantime, my inbox, as you can imagine, turned into a disaster. So you see the top that's like 444 million. Well, a couple years ago at Blog Her Chicago, I heard one of the keynotes, I think it was Elise, stand up and be like, I have a bankrupt box. And I hit that once a month, and I put anything I haven't answered, and I was like, blasphemy. You don't do that. I was shocked. But I did it, and it was wonderful. It frees you every month. And anything really important will come back. The next thing I did was I cut out a lot of stuff. There's a lot of drama, a lot of things I don't need to worry about. The other thing I cut out was wheat. Made a big difference in my life. I found out I was intolerant to gluten, so that was good. I took a minute and found out. Thus, my health inventory, I realized my shoulders were like this. I had some pain, so I cleared out my health. The other thing is, Mark and I watched a lot of TV late at night because he couldn't sleep. So I watched a few inappropriate shows, but the one is 24. If you read that t-shirt, you're alive today because Jack Bauer made it so. I would go to the grocery store after watching back-to-back 24 series all night, and I'd be like, who's following me in the parking lot? Can't take it. The other thing I did was I cleaned out my playlist. I needed something new, so literally I'm like, dude, maybe my playlists are my bad mojo. So I brought a bunch of new stuff. The other thing I did was I turned off notifications. If you can believe it, I took email off my phone, and it's not back on, and I love it. The sound from TweetGrid, I'm sorry, that's enough to drive us all nuts. I hope you silence that thing, because it'll give you a panic attack. The other thing I do is I walk away all the time. On the weekend, I shut it down. I don't want to look at it. I purposefully lose my phone. You need the time away. You need the break. I don't want to know sometimes. I don't want the pressure, and it's glorious. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. You got to keep up on this. There is technology addiction. What happens with technology is there's a dopamine response in your brain, which creates this cycle that's never fulfilled. We want to keep pressing refresh. We want to see that people are talking to us, but it's a cycle that doesn't ever feed you. So step away. I still love you, technology. I love everyone in the room. I want you to tweet me. I still post, but I do it in a much more measured way. And the most important thing is that I'm hanging with my family. All right, I've got like 2 seconds left. I'm done. This was on my new playlist.